I've been playing with yarn. My new big girl yarn. I have opinions. So I just scrapped that whole video. I have so many things to say, and apparently, when you do a big haul and you start working with your new stuff, whatever it is, makeup, yarn, or yarn, I mean, there's a certain amount of excitement that goes along with that. However, we are all in a conundrum. And right now, I don't know who's going to be heading up this video. I don't know if it's going to be Granny speaking, or if it's going to be ADHD Dee Dee, or is it going to be my autism, Autizzy Lizzie? Stick around and find out. So, welcome back to my next video about, my big girl yarn order. And so, I have a lot to say about my yarn and everything like that. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get started because I'm all over the place with this video. I've started it like, 4 or 5 times and then deleted the whole thing because, I was being a little negative. I don't want to be negative. I love yarn. I just don't love when things aren't consistent. I have a problem with that. But anyway, let me tell you, I did some samples with my new yarn and I can't wait to show you what I did. First off, I'm going to say something about Crochet.com. Those Brava tweeds that I purchased. Man, hold on, let me just show you. So, this was the Brava tweed right here. This was, this is Wasabi. Beautiful. I love all those flecks in there. Isn't that gorgeous? And I did a sample. Now, most crocheters do, those little fancy swatches and, fancy like stitches and, big and square. I'm autistic. First off, I have to be different, and I don't mean to. I just prefer circles. This yarn crocheted up so nice. And now y'all know I have my Mimosa polished stainless steel hooks. I mean, I can't even describe it. It's not even like sliding and gliding through butter with a hot knife. It's better than that. This works up so nice and feels so good on my hook, and it's substantial. This one here, this Brava tweed, is the worsted weight, and that's going to come into play here in a few moments. So this is the worsted weight, and it's just beautiful, and it's made in Serbia, and I love it so much. This is going to make some really nice projects, and it's not as soft as I thought it would be, but I wasn't expecting it to be super soft. I was expecting it to, to be a tweed, because to me, tweeds have certain things that they go for. Like, I'll probably do hats and scarves with this. I might do some cowls. I might do a shawl. I don't know. There's so many things that can be done with this, and I love it so much. And so I did that. I couldn't wait to show you guys my Brava tweed. So that was cool. Now, the other Brava tweed, oh, well, and then I got this color too, but I haven't worked it up yet. I only have 4 skeins of this, so I'm probably not going to work it up, because when I work up these little circles like this, I like to cut them off and save them, and then I will like, I'll like, make a little sticker for them, and then, like file them away. So I always have them. And this one's called Boysenberry, and it's so stinking pretty. It's just beautiful. So yeah. So that's my Brava tweeds. Now let me show you the Brava recycled. The Brava recycled. This. I love this so much. I love working with a DK weight. The problem is DK weight doesn't play well with other weights. This DK weight, I actually am finding I prefer working. I love working with this. I just see that this would be a long ass project with teeny tiny stitches. My autism would probably do really fine with that on those days. I could have a project, for her when she needs something, static and something, structured and the same. But my ADHD, quite honestly, she's going to be like, why is this taking so long? We want to make other stuff. So, I have to keep everybody, involved in the process. And so here is the sample of that Brava recycle. Look how beautiful that is. The color variations in here that are throughout the whole yarn is so interesting. This right here, this is what I meant by I love colors that command that you look at them because they have depth and interest. It's something like this. And it's just as interesting as, say something like this, or, something that's, a little bit more vibrant. When I talk about a fabric being command to be seen, I'm not necessarily talking about vibrancy. I'm talking about interest. You know what I mean? And so I love this. It crocheted up so nice. And after I got done with that, it made this nice little cake. Holy smokes. I mean, everything about this Brava recycle is top notch. Everything is top notch. The feel of it, the way it stitches up, the structure of it, the way the stitches look, the way it caked up, big win. Okay, what's next? I think that's all I've worked up so far. So now, we just had our nice little conversation with Granny. She's all done. And so now, ADHD has a few things she wants to say before Miss Autism takes over. ADHD is ecstatic at all of the purchases and so excited and has so many projects in her head that we can't pick one. And we're going to have to rein her in because I'm not going to have a bunch of whips. I already have right now. I've got my shawl, poncho, cardigan I'm working on. I've got my big ass granny square blanket I'm working on. I've got various cowl necks that are in various stages of progress. So that's keeping her happy. But let me tell you what's not keeping Autism happy. Autism is not happy because why is there no consistency amongst the yarn? I love yarn. Yes, I do. I love it so much. And I love all the colors. And I love everything about everybody until, you piss me off or you make me look over at you like, what are you doing? So I'm looking at my yarn and I'm like, what are you doing? First off, I loved my big, huge mega balls from Hubie. Love them. I love them so much. I love them. And, and they love it too. This is not a 4-weight worsted yarn. This is not, hello, Hubie, this is not a 4 medium. You know why? Because this is a 4 medium. See the difference there? That difference makes a huge difference in your what's it makes a huge difference in your project. Sorry about that. I'm in a quandary. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, why is there that big? I wish you could see it better. Why is there that big of a difference? You see that? See all that? What is that? And so I got this fabric, I got this yarn to go with my cardigan poncho. Well, the first time I used it, it was so stinking tight, I had to take it all out. And I was like, okay, I need to swatch this. So then I swatched it to see kind of what what do I need to do. So I went up a hook size and then I, crocheted a little bit looser and it still didn't work. So I had to swatch it 2 more times to try to get it to work. And let me show you what I have so far. And so here it is. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on camera, but it's lacier, very lacy. And the other yarn is very, not thick, but, it's substantial, right? They both say they're the exact same weight. Now, let me tell you something really interesting. To me, this is not a medium 4 worsted. This is, see the difference? And this is, look at the big difference in that. They are both marked for medium worsted weight yarns. I have a problem with that because I need consistency. And I understand that Serbia has their 4 weight worsted. India has theirs. Turkey has theirs. And then, we have ours, apparently. And I understand the process of having to gauge and swatch, but that's a big difference for me. Maybe it's not for somebody that's more advanced. I mean, I can eventually get the gauge and everything like that. But now I'm wondering, do I want that soft, loose, lacy yarn in the middle of that poncho? Will it hang and pull it down too much and pull it out of shape? I don't know. But also the other part of me is like, but it adds an interesting little variable, to the poncho. Like if I were to, crochet a row or 2 of like the eyelash yarn, something, fluffy and pretty, or something like that to add depth and interest. But this difference between these 4 weight worsteds are just driving me nuts. Now, Autism, Lizzie has a few words that she would like to say because she has answers. And so before I go on with that, I wanted to continue with this just real quick. I did the Premier Basic Mosaic, the cuddle, because I was gonna lie. I don't like to cuddle. And the sample came out so beautiful and so much prettier than I thought. It's so interesting. I'm definitely doing Christmas gifts this year for all the grandkids. They're getting hats and scarves. No, they're getting hats and cowls. That's what this is going to be. So I worked up a sample of that and I love it. I'm going to tell you something. That Mosaic Basics, it worked up really nice. It also felt really super good on my hook. I loved it so much. It was just like, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. And something else I noticed, using my polished stainless steel hook and a good yarn, my hands don't hurt as bad. I mean, I still have to, wear my gloves and stuff like that, but it doesn't hurt near as bad. And I didn't do a sample out of this, and I will not be. You want to know why? It's too stinking pretty. And when I make samples, like I said, I cut off the sample and I keep them and I tag them and I catalog them. Yeah, I know. And so that's what's going on with these yarns, and so I found, my Autism Lizzie found this really cool website called YarnSub, YARNSUB.com. And you can type in a substitute for a yarn you're using. So I typed in my mandala ombre and it pulled up several options that are good replacements for that yarn. And so I'm thinking in my head, we're all thinking, well, that's cool. We can find what could be a good replacement for that yarn and then use that yarn together with my mandala in the project that I'm working on. And so I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to link, I'm going to try to remember. I'm going to try Executive dysfunction is really real. But I'm going to try to link it down in the description box because it's got some really valuable information in there, because it talks about not only the difference in finding a good substitute for your yarn, but it talks about the difference between an S yarn and a Z yarn. Did you know there's a difference? Yes, there is. The S yarn goes, I think, coils to the right, and the Z coils to the left. One's better for knitters, and one is better for right-handers. Go check it out for yourself. yarnsub.com. Brilliant. Now, what else do I want to talk about? Was that it? You guys, I had so much fun with my first big girl yarn order, but I also had some disappointments, and I hate that about myself because I've always been that person, and now I understand why. I don't get excited about anything like, no. I get excited because, you know, there's ADHD. She can't help herself. But the rest of us living inside my head, we have lower, very, very lowered expectations. And not to be negative, it's not negative. I have lowered expectations because I don't like being disappointed. And if I've lowered my expectations, I can't be disappointed. But one of the things that I didn't count on was different weights of yarn being called the same thing. That's kind of, you know, that's almost like hidden, like propaganda type shit or something. It's like, oh, you know, we're gonna say it's a 4 worsted weight, but it's really a DK weight. Then they'll have to come back and buy more, and then before you know it, they'll have a whole wall of shit they can't use. I ain't falling for it, see. But anyway, I really am enjoying all my yarns aside from that. You know, just little things like that. I know I'm so glad I know I'm autistic, because little tiny inconsistencies like that literally make me come unglued. Now that I understand the differences and the variables, now I can move forward and learn different aspects of yarn, which is going to be so wonderful. There's nothing like loving yarn, touching yarn, crocheting with yarn, then learning about how do they make the fibers? What's an S and S shape yarn? What's a Z shape yarn? What's blown yarn? I got to know all of it. And then I have to experience it. And I hope you guys stick around and experience it with me. I'm getting some followers, and I'm just so happy that you guys are here with me, because I can't wait to find out what you like. I can't wait to find out what you're working on. Are you neurodivergent? Are you ADHD or autistic, or think you might be? Do you enjoy yarn as much as I do? I hope so. And you're in the right place if that sounds like you. So anyway, I have nothing else left to say, so we all know what that means. I will see you in my next video.